Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo artisans. It's Cowboy here, and it's 8:31 a.m. EST on Wednesday. Today is going to be an interesting day. We have the FOMC minutes, and what that is, it's a recounting of the meeting that the Fed had. I think it was like last month, and it goes into their thoughts on the interest rates, what their reasoning is, and it's a recording of what was said during the meeting. So a lot of people like to look at that and look at it under a microscope once it's released to try to get, or at least should decipher forward guidance. That happens at 2 p.m. EST today, so markets might slow down leading up to that. In the meantime, we're going to take a look at a couple things. I have a request to take a look at MicroStrategy, I believe, from Swellen, which I think I know who that is. That's a buddy of mine, if I'm not mistaken, named Spike, going back to the Watch Us Trade days. And so we're going to take a look at that after we take a look at the USDJPY. Now, both JPY pairs are moving up pretty hard here, right? And we'll take a look at the NASDAQ if we got time for that as well. Basically, long story short, NASDAQ looks to be continuously bearish, but we'll get into that in a minute. So USDJPY continues to pop up, and then it has these kind of sideways pullbacks, very slightly not so sideways. And then you're just looking at higher highs and higher lows. Now, arguably, one might look at this. It's almost like a wedge, which can break bearish. So if we are seeing, in fact, a wedge, and this is kind of old school, like pattern trading, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I don't know that I would classify that as a wedge. Nope, I'm not going to do that. It's just an uptrend. And the Japanese yen is being allowed to weaken. I don't know exactly what that's all about. I haven't really looked into it. It's not to say the information is not out there. I just haven't read the news. So we're looking at these higher highs and higher lows, right? And what we might be seeing here is, at some point, this should kind of pull back a little bit, but it'll probably continue up as long as the current trend remains in place. Because despite metrics saying that the pullback should happen, the pullback is not really happening on a higher time frame. We're not seeing a big move down. Every single pullback gets gobbled up. And this, again, is evidence. The dollar is certainly getting a bit stronger than it was, and there's evidence that the dollar on a high time frame against all the other currencies is starting to gain in strength, which would, of course, cause charts like this to go up. But either way, this particular chart is definitely going up, and that is as much to do with the Japanese yen getting weak as it is the dollar getting strong. Now, Japanese yen getting weak usually means that money is going into the stock market. Now, it's actually not what's happening according to the NASDAQ. We'll look at that briefly here after we look at MicroStrategy, but things are moving in the opposite direction than they should in that respect. It might have, again, more to do with the dollar strength, but again, the Japanese yen's weakening at a time when it should, or at least at a time when it normally would be getting stronger as money leaves the stock market, flows into the Japanese yen. But I'll have to maybe talk to someone like Tom Luongo to find out what's going on with that plumbing, because that's abnormal, the way that that's moving. But it is going this way. So what'll probably happen is in the near term, this is a 3-hour chart, swing trading type situation. Price probably will pull back here and just continue up. It's most likely what'll happen. You might get a little bit more of an extension to kind of mess around with the shorts a little bit, and then head down and then up eventually. It's probably what'll happen. Okay. And I would expect to pull back to like this level or above. I mean, it might go a little below, but somewhere around that 155.75 is where the pullback would happen if it did. Now let's take a brief look at MicroStrategy to fulfill that request. Now, a couple things. Okay, MSTY, London, NASDAQ, okay, ARCA. Okay, this is option. Is it MicroStrategy? He said MSTY. I wonder if he meant MSTR. Let me take a brief look at the comments here. Comments. Community. He said MSTY. So we'll look at MSTY if somebody is playing those options. So MSTY, which is yield max. It's MicroStrategy option income. So we'll take a look at it. I don't know how useful this is going to be. but that's what he wants to see, apparently. So he asked for MSTY, and it just really looks bad. There's really nothing to see here. It's just going down. So I got, I don't know what to tell you on this one. It just looks like a sinking ship. So this is options income strategy. It's an ETF, right? It's an ETF for MicroStrategy where they play options, and there's just no, it's just going down. I have nothing to say about it. Maybe it'll pop up, maybe it won't, but it's gone from, $50, 47.50 all the way down to 8, and I see no end in sight for that. So MSTY, I don't have much to say about it. I'll look at MicroStrategy because I get the feeling that might be what he wanted to see. Okay, I think that's what he wanted to see. MicroStrategy. I want to look on. Okay, this is on Pith. I don't see, why am I not seeing MicroStrategy on the? Maybe if I do it this way, MSFY. Okay. MSTR. Yeah. It also looks like just really bad. So the thing about MicroStrategy is it's now at this level here, but I don't see anything in the algos right now that give me any clue that it's going to stop falling. So, I get the feeling that Swellen, who asked for this request, probably holds it and wants to know if it's going to go up. Look, all I can tell you, the algos look terrible. I don't see anything good in those. You have a range here between $100 and $200 where price went back and forth. Price might bounce off that. It might not. It might dip into that. If it were to bounce, it would bounce here. If it were to break through here, then it would stay below there probably. But I see nothing good about this right now. Maybe once it gets down to 100, you might see a bounce. But there's nothing in the algos that shows any promise that this is going to do anything besides just go down for a while. Sure, it might pop up a bit, but this is incredibly bearish. So that's all I got for you. It looks terrible. Hope that helps. I know it doesn't sound helpful. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Now, as long as the NASDAQ continues to fall, then Bitcoin will probably continue to fall. And so I drew what I think is going to happen. This is like a reimagining of yesterday's chart that I drew. So let me just do some here real quick. Okay. Reversal in Bitcoin price would change its direction. Yeah. Epic Builds is saying a reversal in Bitcoin price would change MicroStrategy's direction, but I don't see that happening right now. As long as the NASDAQ continues down as it is, Bitcoin's not going to have very likely any reason to turn around. Now it is holding above 90. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, but the reality is that Bitcoin's a small market compared to equities, indices. And so people are gambling on Bitcoin because it's volatile, but in the whole scheme of things, Bitcoin's not really much. So what'll happen is people will sell their Bitcoin positions, liquidate those to cover other bets in the bond market and in the stock market and everything like that. It's not a big, it's not a big enough market. That just is what it is. So right now you have NASDAQ doing what I think it's going to do is just continue down to 22K. Now that could change. You have the FOMC minutes today. Maybe, something was said in the FOMC minutes like, oh, well, forward guidance says that we're actually considering a 50 basis point rate cutter. Who knows what they're going to say there. Last few FOMC minutes releases were not very monumental, right? So by the way, I apologize. There's something going on with the video and my voice. Apparently, it's off sync. So it is what it is. I don't know what to do about that. It might just be that I no longer put my face on here because it's throwing people off. And not because I'm so ugly, but because, just kidding. But because of, the voice thing. Anyway, let's go back to the charts. So, unless we see a major change in policy, I don't expect this to change. I expect the NASDAQ to continue down and Bitcoin will continue down right along with it. I expect Bitcoin to go to 75,000. If that happens, if the NASDAQ continues down like that, 83,000 minimally, right? You might get a bounce. It might hold above 90. I'm not saying that let me put it this way. If Bitcoin were to defy the NASDAQ and outperform the NASDAQ, if Bitcoin were to go up while the NASDAQ is going down, that would be an indication that the masters of the universe hold Bitcoin to be very important. Now, we did, I'll give you just a smidge of copium or hopium in that, what's his name? Besant, our Treasury Secretary, he did say that buying Bitcoin is important for America. So, I mean, hey, my opinion of Bitcoin and crypto in general at this point is it's a new way for the big guys to make money. I know this is going to piss a lot of people off. Bitcoin's not private and it's highly centralized. It's owned by a very small amount of people. Most of it, the mining pools are also centralized. So Bitcoin's not what it's meant to be. It's not, I mean, yes, you can send money peer to peer and all that. But as soon as you do that, you're identified, right? Like if you buy anything online with it, and as V the Gorilla would say, I can't go buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, and it's 2025. So sure, maybe in Costa Rica you can, or 1 in 500 coffee shops in LA take Bitcoin or something. But in reality, Bitcoin has not fulfilled that aspect of what it's supposed to be. It's certainly gone up in price. It's been great for speculation, but most crypto doesn't really have much of a use beyond speculation. I don't know anybody personally who's using cryptocurrency for anything besides speculation and the occasional purchase on Newegg. That just is what it is, and that's fine. Maybe that changes in the future. I think Monero is the future of crypto or something like it. Be that as it may, if Bitcoin gets held up above 75,000, or even if it bounces right here at 88, which it very well could, that's an indication, if the NASDAQ were to continue down, that's an indication that the people who are running the game right now want and need Bitcoin to stay high. That's what that is. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go up on its own. I think it's going to require institutional help as long as the NASDAQ is falling. And that's not a very popular opinion amongst my Bitcoin friends. And I have been a Bitcoin person in the past. And to a degree, I still am a great Bitcoin person, in a way. But I'm a lot more pragmatic. I don't just buy things and hold them forever. And be that as it may, that is what we have time for today. So yeah, if Bitcoin reverses in price, as Epic Builds did say, if Bitcoin starts to go up, then MicroStrategy will start to go up. That is because MicroStrategy is just basically a bunch of Bitcoin. God bless them. So thank you all for watching. We're going to head over to the private live lab. Go ahead, get your free algo link is in the description. The video in there, what it does is it teaches you, it shows you how I build algos. It's what it does. It shows you how I build algos. And I literally build one in front of you. I turn it into code with Grok. I show you the tools that traders use to connect that algo to their exchange. So that algo can bot trade while you're not at the computer. Now, the algo I build would require you to optimize it for whatever you're trading. It's not plug and play like that. And that's any algo, anywhere. I don't care who built it or how good it is. You always have to optimize it yourself before you connect it to your exchange. So don't just go and do that. Thank you all for watching. We will be back tomorrow as we are, Tuesday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST. Thanks for watching. Don't forget,
join us or die.
just kidding. You won't die.